If there's one thing that's remained consistent since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, it's this. Ukraine keeps failing to protect its own strategic assets. Depot after depot, factory after factory, rail hubs, power stations, and command centers, all struck by Russian missiles, again and again, with zero interception. And every single time, the same story is told. Russia attacked civilians. The world must condemn it. But maybe, just maybe, it's time we ask the harder question. Is Russia truly the only one to blame here? Or has Ukraine been quietly hiding a critical failure from the world? On June 24, 2025, the city of Dnipro was shaken to its core. 4 Iskander-M ballistic missiles launched by Russia ripped through a major industrial complex, the PJSC Dnipropetrovsk pipe plant. The explosions were not ordinary. One building didn't just collapse, it detonated from within. A fireball followed by a pressure wave obliterated structures across several blocks. Eyewitness footage and satellite data confirmed secondary explosions, a telltale sign of hidden munitions or explosive materials inside the facility. But the most shocking detail wasn't the explosion. It was the silence from above. Not a single missile was intercepted. Not one was even challenged. The Iskander-M is not a random weapon. It's not just a rocket. It's a surgical tool of destruction. Traveling at speeds up to Mach 7, equipped with maneuverability to dodge most radar systems, and able to strike with precision within 5 meters of a target, this is a missile designed to destroy bunkers, underground hangars, hardened military assets. And when 4 of them are launched together, that means one thing. The target was extremely high value. So let's be honest. If Ukraine knew this facility was important, why wasn't it defended at all? We keep hearing the same headlines. Ukraine has Patriot. They're backed by NASAMS, IRIS-T, and SAMP/T. Western tech will stop Russian missiles. But here's the real question. Where were those systems when Dnipro was under fire? The answer is simple. There aren't enough of them to go around. Ukraine is massive, over 600,000 square kilometers of territory to defend. And the total number of interceptors, just a few dozen at best. Most are deployed around Kyiv, Zaporizhzhia, and a handful of NATO-prioritized zones. But key industrial cities like Dnipro, Kharkiv, and Sumy, they're left exposed, wide open, sitting ducks. So while the media talks about high-tech defenses, on the ground, they don't exist where they're actually needed. Let's go even deeper. It's not just about limited systems. It's about bad doctrine. Ukraine relies heavily on mobile air defense units, constantly moving, constantly repositioning, trying to survive instead of trying to hold ground. But what does that lead to? Massive gaps, blind spots, timed vulnerabilities, and worse, Ukraine refuses to deploy permanent air defense around critical infrastructure for fear of being detected by Russia. But that fear has consequences. So when a strike like this happens, there's nothing there to stop it. Even worse, Ukraine prioritizes political targets, not military-industrial ones. They guard symbols, but they leave the supply lines unprotected. And Russia knows this. Mainstream media often paints a picture. Russia attacks at random. They target civilians. No military logic. But facts say otherwise. Russia has struck train depots just as HIMARS units were being transported. They've hit civilian warehouses later found to be drone assembly points. Even so-called food storage facilities turned out to contain artillery rounds. These aren't mistakes. They're calculated. And Ukraine? They know this. They just don't say it out loud, because admitting the truth would shatter the image they've built, both domestically and abroad. Ukraine is fighting a war, but it's fighting it with assumptions, not with realism. They assume hiding weapons in factories will keep them safe. They assume Russia won't find out. They assume Western air defense will always be enough. But here's the cold truth. In war, assumptions kill. Russia isn't striking blindly. They're hitting exactly where Ukraine is weakest, because Ukraine keeps showing them where. Dnipro isn't an accident. It's a symptom of a much larger failure. And unless Ukraine changes the way it defends itself, this will happen again, and again, and again. And worst of all, no one seems to be learning. This isn't politics. This is the battlefield. Raw, unfiltered, and unforgiving. If you want more military analysis like this, subscribe now and hit the bell icon. We don't push narratives. We expose the reality. This is war without illusions.
This content is created solely for educational and informational purposes. It is intended to provide insights based on verified data, credible sources, and careful analysis. Our goal is to foster a deeper understanding of modern military technology and current events, not to promote or endorse any form of conflict, propaganda, or political agenda. We strictly oppose the spread of misinformation and hoaxes. Every piece of information presented has been carefully sourced from reliable, publicly available references. We encourage viewers to approach the topic with critical thinking and respect for all sides involved, maintaining a focus on knowledge sharing and open discussion.